Eden Zero has just now set up a really interesting new way for any problem to be solved in the future, in a way for at least information on it, but not in the sense of just like, okay, easy fix. In the fact that any information that they need, they can obtain, but in order to do so, they have to complete a specific task that we find out in this chapter. So, getting to the chapter itself, obviously we know that they went to meet Zhao Mei. Zhao Mei ended up being the famous fortune teller, as titled, that they were informed of. Now knowing the time oracle Zhao Mei on the planet Mildian. Again, nice reference to Rave Master, and then for those probably more associated with Fairy Tail, with the both having Mildian cities. Well, Mildian also has a university where they're practice. But anyway, Zhao Mei has presents herself to them, knowing that she is aware of everything in the galaxy. And I'm wondering, like, to what extent maybe expanding out of this, is she exaggerating? Because she says cosmos, and I'm wondering if they mean cosmos and galaxy is the same thing. But she demonstrates that because she knows all of their names, she knows what they're there for, she knows all their stories, and once they're talking to her, like, okay, well, can you tell us about Valkyrie? But first, she's explaining essentially like the planet, because they're a little bit concerned when she says, like, I knew the time of your arrival and why exactly they came to visit. But she goes over how it's not really, they're frozen in time. When Rebecca asks about it, she's like, time of arrival, I thought time was frozen on this planet. But when they got there, the rivers were still running, clouds were still, just traveling along. But the fact is, it's not that time is stopped, is that this planet kind of exists out of time in its own time. So essentially, when you enter Mildian, time outside of the planet isn't going. It's almost like you've entered just an entirely different, like, almost universe in a way. But it's so kind of weird to explain it. It's the fact that this planet, time is not really relative, I guess, in a way. And what time you enter the planet, it'll be that exact moment once you leave. So no matter, if you show up there and you're on Mildian for a year, once you leave the planet, it's not going to be a year later. It's the exact time as when you entered, which opens up like a really good idea for, like, anytime maybe like something's going to happen, like a chronophage is going to a planet, and they're like, okay, we need to stop it. We only have an hour, but not enough time to do X, whatever we need to do. They can go to Mildian, and they have all the time to figure out a strategy, figure out what they're doing. And I am very curious to what the extent of that is. Obviously people are being very much comparing it to something like the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball. But that's what a day in normal world is, a year in there. This is like a second, not even a second. It's infinite time on Mildian versus outside of it. So I'm curious to know if they'd be able to train on the planet. I don't know how they'd really do it without destroying it. That was always that kind of thing, like why they couldn't do much on like King Kai's planet versus the hyperbolic time chamber, while it was just kind of like an infinite like space. I guess they could probably train within that weird like space room that Zhao Mei has. I don't know, but with that, they've pretty much explained how that the only reason that she can really give them the information that they want is through a trade. And through that trade, they're like, okay, how much is it going to cost? She doesn't want money. Why would she want money? What use does she have for money? She doesn't want information. In a sense, she knows everything in the galaxy, whether that people, the weather in the future or the past, military secrets, she knows it all. But what she doesn't know is the outcome of a battle. She's like limited herself, so she doesn't know, who would win between two characters in a fight. She won't know exactly, rather, who will win. Like, obviously, if you put someone who's absurdly more powerful against somebody who's not strong at all, that's obvious. But she can kind of like see a fight, and she'll see the outcome of either of them winning, but she doesn't know which exactly it'll be. Like if Jin showed up and he's like, I'm gonna fight you, then she doesn't know whether or not Shiki or Jin will prevail. Which again offers like a really interesting aspect of the series, anything going forward where say something happens and they need to can't figure out what to do in the situation. They can go back and meet with Zhao Mei, and she could be like, yeah, I can give you that information, but you have to do, beat this said character. And maybe, getting the information, like finding it's an easy task of, knowing where to go, but it doesn't mean that, beating the requirement to it, whatever character is presented for them to fight, is going to be easy. Like, say, like, Zhao Mei is like, oh yeah, I know the answer to, some code on some time bomb that's going to blow up a planet or something. You're like, but that's going to be, you have to beat said character, and nobody on Shiki's team could beat the character. And then they're like, okay, we have infinite time. We have to go and train, maybe, develop, learn stuff, and progress, and then come back and then maybe retry. Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe they'll try again. Maybe they'll fight characters, in like a ladder from where they were previously, and then just kind of going up one level each time until they can beat, the person they need to. But also on top of that, it also opens the fact that Zhao Mei doesn't seem open. She's not one-sided on any of this. She's not like, oh, you guys are good guys, so I'll help you. Like, I imagine like a bad guy could show up, whether that be Drac and Joe, any of the, or I was gonna say it's Galactica, and just be like, okay, we want to know this thing, and then she'll be like, okay, but you just gotta do beat this guy in my battle call scene, the same way she drops everyone else in, and she's like, all right, Shiki crew, Eden Zero team, in order to find out information on where Valkyrie is, you have to defeat a level 10 time in the battle call scene. And it wasn't just like she's like, oh cool, I want to see a fight, I want to know how it is. She's like all hot and bothered, like torqued up. She's like quivering, trying to like figure out like what's gonna happen in this fight. She's absolutely just like writhing up, excited to see these guys go within the arena. And the first person they go up against is like this guy from the planet Zord, the steel-skinned bogey, I think they called it, metal bogey. He's like a steel-skinned guy. I wonder if he's just steel-skinned or if he's all metal. I'm just kind of curious about that, because it would definitely add to like a much different like level of impressiveness versus like a dude with metal skin versus a dude who's just a straight like hunk of metal, and Shiki just punches him down. And Shiki does one-shot him. And I was worried about this when I read about in the chapter itself, and I was worried because I like the concept of the battle call scheme. I thought it was really cool. You have to basically defeat X amount of characters of X level in order to get the information you want. Yeah, but I didn't expect this to be a super hard battle, but I was like, oh, please don't tell me that Shiki one-shot that guy. I want to be in this part for a while. I don't expect it to be like an own arc, but I'm hoping like at least every character gets a fight. They only have like 3 other people after this that can really fight, Wise, Amora, and Rebecca. And what I'm hoping is that, because you find out at the end that that's only the first round, and that they've got more to follow. I'm hoping it's 5 rounds, and everyone gets a fight. Shiki gets 2, because I want Shiki to have the first one. This one just be a warm-up. It's literally just like, here's the rules, and then, this is all you need to know. And then whoever he fights last is going to be harder. Maybe Jin will show up, and he's got to fight Jin. I mean, he's in a ninja outfit. It probably wouldn't really count now because he took his shirt off, and he took his headband off. So I guess it doesn't like as hold as much as I wanted it to previously, talking about, ninja dress Shiki. And I don't know. That's mostly it. Like I like the idea. I like the concept. I think it's really cool. I like this whole layout of it's kind of like the idea of a video game where it's like, okay, you run into a problem, you know how to solve it. Like you're like, okay, I need to progress to the next level, but at the next level I have to beat this boss. I can't beat the boss, so I'll go grind, level up, and then try again. If that doesn't work, keep grinding, and then eventually you'll be good enough to beat the boss. Or just keep trying until you can find, weaknesses and openings and go at it. So that was a cool, really like that layout of the chapter. I'm surprised at Zhao Mei. I thought she'd be more of like a wise, like continue fourth wall breaking cosmic girl. But now she's like a weird battle fetish, like cosmic deity on top of that. And, there was a really interesting thing at the end when she notes that, like, Shiki is really interesting because she knew that he'd win. Well, or she didn't know he'd win. She predicted he would win, but she didn't think it'd be in one shot. And then she's like, he's interesting, and she expects nothing less of Mothers. And then, ... end of chapter. And the next chapter is called, I think, Footsteps of the Battle Maiden. So it's either going to be Homura next up, or maybe like we'll see Valkyrie watching the fight, or we'll see Valkyrie, wherever she is doing something. But I'm just going to lay this out there because I want to get this. I want to get this out in an easy place to find it. I'll remember this chapter pretty easy if my theory comes true of Shiki, because obviously he's related to Mother, and I want to put this out there. This is my idea for Shiki, of why Shiki is how he is. Think of this. 4 seasons, gravity power, he really wants to have friends. Just imagine that Shiki was like a desolate planet with whose population was wiped out, and then Mother kind of like, maybe like Ziggy went there and found it and was sad, and then Mother through like some process, how she kind of reborns people. It didn't say it had to be people. Imagine her like pretty much creating like taking a planet, intaking it, and then recreating it as a person. And then that's why Ziggy maybe found him so important. Maybe that's where Ziggy was made. I know that Hiramashima really likes the Marvel movies, so maybe he found some inspiration of that from Thanos. Again, would be interesting. Movie Thanos, even though he's not the real Thanos. I know one of my friends, if he ever hears me in the video compare movie Thanos to comic Thanos, I'm gonna never hear the end of it. But anyway, drop a comment below what you thought about this chapter. Tell me about my theory if you've made it to the end of the video to hear this. I think it's a pretty weird but interesting theory. It sounds strange, but it's one of those like weird cosmic stuff that it looks like Hiromashima's running for Eden Zero, instead of deep magic or just like all around strangeness for how Rave Master was. And I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, prefer the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.